Hey guys, it's Crystal Lee Moore Lucier here, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor. Crystal Lee Moore, this is Realtor Life, and we're so happy you're here. Today, guys, we have a very special guest. Welcome to my colleague, John Lusink. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Crystal. I'm happy to be with you.
Absolutely. So, John and I met a couple years ago when we were both serving on the board for the Real Estate Council of Ontario. And we found out that we were both alumni of University of Fredericton. Very cool, very cool. So welcome, John. I'm just so happy you're here.
Thank you.
So, you have been a realtor for a little bit. When did
Yes,
you start in real estate?
I started in 1986. So,
Okay,
yes, so
very fun.
hitting a milestone in 2026. And
That's
there,
amazing.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so 1986. I was
Mm.
not in real estate in 1986. Um, but from what I have heard, interest rates were not super low.
Correct.
They were really high. So what was it? Was this like your first career out of school, or were you like how did it come about that you're like real
Yeah,
estate?
yeah. Yes, that's a an interesting well, I think it's a little bit interesting. I
I think
did
it's
not choose I did not choose to go into real estate. And quite frankly, my start in real estate was in the research department of Royal LePage Commercial, which
okay.
today is known as Cushman Wakefield. And specifically, I was in the office leasing department. And
Okay.
how I got there, out of university, 1985, I graduated with a BA in psych,
Nice.
and jobs were few and far between. And so I managed to get a sales job, and because of the boss I had, who was great, I got the coveted Xerox Learning Systems training, which
Okay.
was phenomenal.
Um, I'm gonna cut you off for 1 second now. What is that?
Yeah.
What is that?
So Xerox, so the copier
Like the copy
folks,
machine. Yeah, okay.
yeah, they had a whole separate department staffed by really, really smart people, psychologists, psychiatrists who were studying sales.
Ooh, okay.
And that business today is known as Learning International. But they were such a sales-oriented organization. So they built and created professional selling skills was the name of the course.
Okay.
And so you got sent to this off-site location for a week and literally got hammered, brainwashed into how to sell.
Nice.
And so,
Maybe not the
not,
brainwashing, but the sales training. Nice. It's like,
yeah,
whoa, brainwashing.
yeah. I mean, like all the stuff
Yeah,
that we today even try to tell new realtors, you've got to learn, you got to study
yeah.
this. I mean, that's what it was. So
Cool.
that same boss actually left and joined a company that today is known as CBRE. And he
Yes.
called me and he
Okay.
said, I think you should look into this. I didn't have a clue that you could make money leasing office space or selling commercial real. I didn't honestly, I was so green it was ridiculous. So because of him, I got into it and then found that I had an affinity for it. And I ended up joining him at CBRE and was fortunate enough to do well.
Right.
And so I was for the first, I'm just trying to think now. For the first, I'm going to say 6, 7, 8 years of my real estate career, it was strictly commercial real estate. And but you're right. I mean, I at the start of it, people were getting mortgages in the 21% range. And my first house I bought in 1989 with an 11.5% mortgage,
Oh, so you
you
got a
know.
deal.
Yeah, I had a deal. I mean, it's crazy. And so today
Yeah.
we're kind of griping about 3.5%, right?
Yes.
So yeah, anyway,
Hey, that's so
sorry to
cool.
drone on, but that
No,
was
no,
sort of the
it's very interesting.
start.
So you did 8 years of commercial, and then what happened?
Well, then I also worked in there for a developer for 3 years, building
Okay,
office buildings and doing build to suit industrial
nice,
buildings and stuff like that. So after that, I got pulled back into Royal LePage where I started,
nice.
but at the time we had our fourth child, and I just thought, I'm really interested in moving into the management and the corporate side of the real estate business.
Yeah.
So happened to see a posting with Royal LePage, and I ended up working at the Royal LePage Leaside branch,
Okay,
downtown Toronto. And that
nice.
sort of kicked off my start on the residential side. And people may think it's odd, but the commercial business actually prepared me really well for the residential side.
How so? That's cool. How did that?
So yeah, so I'd taken a number of designations, one of them being the CCIM
Okay.
designation, which is the Certified Commercial Investment Member.
Yeah.
And all of that sort of analytical approach and sort of understanding what goes into a deal, and how to properly structure transactions. It's not different than residential, it's just less emotional.
Right.
And so I found when coaching and working with residential agents, it just really it was so applicable and it worked out really well. And having grown up in Toronto, I mean, it's not like I didn't know Leaside and I didn't know the area. So all of that sort of combined to, I ended up really, really enjoying that side of the business. And so
Nice.
after Leaside, I was moved out to Bloor West Village to
Okay.
manage, which I did for about 8 years.
Oh, nice. So I think the only thing I know about Bloor West, we were there a lot for RICO meetings.
Yes, yeah, a little bit
That,
further past
okay.
the Kingsway over, that's
Okay.
Bloor and Islington.
Yes.
Bloor West Village, very, very strong ethnic Ukrainian,
Hey.
Russian, Polish,
Nice.
and wonderful neighborhoods, High Park, Kingsway, Bloor West.
Yeah.
So
Very
so
cool.
yeah, 8 great years there, and then
And so you were
um,
selling and managing or just selling?
no, no, we weren't allowed to sell, strictly managing.
Managing. Okay. Very
Yeah.
nice. And so, and that was 8 years. And then what did you find different about did you find it was different in the two offices or just kind of like that downtown Toronto vibe?
Yeah, no, very different. I mean, I've always found no matter which office, and even in the 10 or 15 offices, in our organization, each one is a very different personality.
Yes.
And, I'd interview people who would come to interview with me at the Bloor West office, and I'd say, well, make sure and they'd say, well, I don't need to go and interview at Kingsway. And I would say, yes, you do,
Yeah.
because you may find the vibe, the personality a bit different and suitable.
Yes.
So I've always found that it's important for people to check those things out. Yeah, very different, and
For
but
sure.
you know, yeah,
I think it's just like an office culture too, because I remember when
sure.
I moved into Guelph, um, there were
Mm,
two Royal LePage offices. So there was one which was called the Waterloo office, which is really funny
mm.
because I now work at a Royal LePage in London on Waterloo. But one was Gordon and one was Waterloo. And
Mm,
no, I'm sorry. One was Waterloo and one was Speedvale. For anyone listening, they're like, there's no different. Anyway, there's two. And I remember my broker saying, I think that you are more Speedvale. And
mm,
I remember kind of going and then really feeling. I agreed with him. And they weren't that different. It's just there was just a different
Yeah.
vibe. And
Yeah.
I think that just happens. Like, I think even in
Sure.
non-real estate, right? Like, if you're in a corporate culture, like, there's just a
Hmm.
different, becomes its own thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very
Absolutely.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you did the 8 years, and then what happened?
Then, as we realtors get a little impatient from time to time, I took a break, and a friend asked me to come and help um, another friend of his who had just bought a Remax franchise in Vaughan.
Okay.
And so I stepped up there to help him with that and with setting it up, building it. He came like me from a Royal LePage commercial background, but so the whole residential and franchise thing was very new, and
Yeah.
so that was actually quite exciting. And in between that, um, I was speaking with another Royal LePage owner, and together we were working on acquiring the Royal LePage office in Newmarket where I lived.
Cool. Okay.
The owner there was retiring, so that took a bit of time. So this was my sort of project in between, and then I ended up in Newmarket for about 8 years, running and as sort of as managing partner, running the Royal
Nice.
LePage office.
Now,
Yeah.
Newmarket, is that kind of Kathleen Black, Richard Robbins territory? Like they're from there. Maybe? I don't know the GTA. Spoiler alert,
Yeah,
Crystal does not know her areas in the GTA, but I feel like
yeah,
it's like around there.
it might be.
Okay,
Yeah, it might be. Yeah,
very
I,
cool. Okay, so then
yeah,
so you got the office in Newmarket.
mm,
This is very
yeah.
cool. This is a very like cool history. Okay, so you got the office in Newmarket, and then
Yep,
what happened?
ran it for 8 years, and then quite honestly thought I would. I don't want to say retire, but shift into more of an educational role,
Yeah.
training, that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And so, on really great terms, decided to sell my shares
Okay.
back to my partners, which was all wonderful.
Yeah.
But then I ended up at Chestnut Park in Toronto, back
Yes.
downtown where I was sort of, familiar. And that was actually an amazing few years and great insight into the luxury side of the business,
Yes.
being affiliated with Christie's and sort of selling Rosedale and, some of these
Nice.
unbelievable places. Um, but also into, in my opinion, probably one of the almost, I would say, best run from a compliance and an oversight point of view brokerages that I've been a
Nice.
part of.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
So,
cool. That, I mean, I can't even imagine. Like, I know, like, we have the luxury. I have my luxury designation as well,
mm,
we actually had on a colleague of mine in Las Vegas who also has hers, and we were talking about the different
mm,
luxury. But I think when you get into like a downtown Toronto or a New York or Vancouver, I think like
mm.
there's just like luxury plus, right?
Yeah, I think you're right because in my day, you're too young, but in my day, 1 million, 2 million, you were thinking, wow, this is, and I could remember even having the discussion at Royal LePage about, okay, what qualifies as carriage trade?
Yes.
And there was this discussion. I mean, today, I don't even know what the
You have to
numbers are now.
apply. It's no longer just automatic at 1 million. You have to be like, you have to be
Sure.
upscale, but then you also have to be like, have like unique features. I know
Right.
because one of my clients, we got them approved. But it
Mm,
was tough going because
mhm.
it technically counted, but also because of what the market had been
Right.
doing, it really wasn't standing out on its own. So we had to
Right.
push for it. We got it,
Right.
but we had to push for
Right.
it.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, it's that was really quite something and an eye opener, when you think.
Yeah.
you know.
What years were it when you were doing the downtown Toronto? What years was that?
Ooh,
What
I
years were
think,
those?
yeah, 2013, 14, 15, 16, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Okay, I feel like 2016 was when it was starting to get a little crazy, right?
Yes.
Like it was just starting to like you could feel like because I was in Guelph at the time, and that's
Mm,
I remember like January 2017 we
yeah,
started getting these crazy multiple offers and it just
sure.
like went off the rails.
Yeah. Yeah. There were certainly, certain listings in certain exclusive streets or neighborhoods. We were already getting, yeah, multiple
Nice.
offers. And it was, yeah.
Very
So,
cool. And how long did you, and
mhm.
then after Chestnut Park, where did you go?
Here's where it gets interesting. So, I met the CEO, who was the CEO at the time of EXP.
Okay.
Um, and we connected, and he said, we had tried to start in Canada, it didn't work,
Yeah.
and we're interested in doing that again. His name was Russ Cafano.
Okay.
Russ actually was I knew him originally from NAR, from the National Association of
Yes.
Realtors. And
Okay.
then he stepped in to be CEO of EXP, and so he said, do you think you could help us? So again, really a consulting assignment that I took on to um, help them get re-registered, which was an
Right.
interesting process because I'm sure you're well aware they have an interesting offering for realtors, and so had to go through that again with the folks at Rico,
Their
and
offer.
so
So I
got
don't think I do know if maybe that's a good thing. What is
mm,
the, I know that they're in virtual offices. And I
yes,
think they have something kind of like with Keller Williams. I was at Keller Williams at the very beginning of my career, and
okay,
they had like a if you recruit someone, then you get a piece of their business
yeah.
like forever. Um,
Yeah, they have that income sharing. It's, I mean, today people
like
call it
Western, you're also an owner,
yes, a multi-level marketing sort of
kind of.
thing.
Yeah.
And so all of that was pretty unique. And so having to, go through that again with Rico, and
For sure.
I mean, it all worked out, but it did help to kind of have a bit of a knowledge or connection, I should say, really, to getting it done. And then, yeah, setting up virtual offices and being registered with I don't know how many different boards.
That's
Yeah,
yeah,
it was quite something. So I got that done, and then
yeah.
and honestly, that's the first time in my working life that I worked at home for a full year.
Okay.
Um, did not like it, by the way.
Yeah.
Did not like it.
It depends. If you're
Yeah,
especially if
it
your
just
comfort is being around like having the divide,
yeah,
having like
yeah,
the work community. Yeah.
yeah. And so the final step in my career, as I was doing that, um, a headhunter reached out and kind of said, we've got something and we're looking for a president for this fairly large company, and blah blah blah. Are you interested? And I at first said no, I'm not. I had an inkling of who it might be. I said I'm not actually interested.
Well, they didn't tell you. They just said, "Hey,
Well, they gave me a background which told me enough,
okay,
um, and I just said, I don't think so.
okay,
But then an individual who I was on the TREB board with way back
yeah,
reached out and said, why don't you have a coffee with one of our board members? And, who knows?
yeah,
So I did. And yeah, the rest is history. I mean, I stepped in to take over Right at Home Realty, and in a couple of years, we rebranded. I shouldn't say rebranded. We set up a parent company called Real Service.
okay,
And so Real Service became the owner of Right at Home. And then
Okay.
when we acquired property.ca, the brokerage,
Yep.
that became, part of the family. And then just recently, you may have seen that we acquired Street City.
Nice. Do you know what? I did
Yeah.
not know that you acquired Street City, but I did know
Mhm.
that um, Street City in London has just moved.
Yes.
And
We,
actually, Costa is
yeah.
going to be a guest on this podcast. I believe his
There,
interview is being aired 2 weeks after your interview. So excited.
well, there you go. Awesome. You can
Yeah,
ask him all about it. And
absolutely. Very
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Very cool. And so
So,
and is it basically the franchise or is there an office that you run?
sorry, what do you mean?
Like, are you, so like, with the other ones, you were like Newmarket,
Oh,
uh,
property.ca
like, is
and
it, yeah, so are you
right at
running like
home.
the whole thing or are
I
you,
was. I
okay,
was. As of September 1, I've stepped back from operational duties. I am trying to retire. So my title now is vice chairman, and
nice.
I strictly focus on mergers and acquisitions and advising the board if and when they need it. So
Fantastic. Very cool.
yeah. Mhm.
I find it depends on your city. So I don't know. I don't even actually know. I guess technically, if you just got Street City, you're in London. I don't know if there was a right at home in London
No,
before.
no. So right at home, we've got 10
Well,
offices.
sure, Guelph. I remember that when I was in there, there was a Guelph office.
If
Was there?
there is,
Or there
no, if
was. Like
no,
I
no,
haven't been there for a while.
yeah, no, we've never had a Guelph one. Part of the reason we acquired Street City, quite frankly, is just obviously where they're located because we've always been interested. But we've got right at home is 10 offices ranging from Niagara, most of them through the GTA up to Barrie, and then Ottawa. Property.ca has got three. So the
Nice.
main one being downtown, and condos.ca is the big reason we bought property.ca because that URL
Yeah.
is I mean
Big.
they're a lead gen brokerage. So
Yes. Okay.
all the realtors there really work off what comes through the condos and property URLs
Yeah.
and
It's
that's how
interesting. I
that's
find this year is the year that I'm learning about so many different models. Um,
mm,
and it's usually just from a deal, right? Like I just had
sure.
a deal with the team at Zone, like
Mm,
ZOWN.
yeah.
And so I had to learn kind of about what they were doing. And then with EXP, you have to learn about their deposit system. There's,
Yeah.
right? So there's just, everyone has different things. It's going to drive me nuts though. There was an office in Guelph, and I guess it wasn't right at home, but it's something like right at home. So
It
that will
could.
just,
Yeah.
it'll just be in my
Yeah.
head and I'll discover it like at 10 p.m. tonight, John, and I'll have to send you
Yeah.
an email.
It could be one of those rogue agents, that's got a sign up. You
You
never know.
never know. You never know. But it's been a few years since I was there. Um,
Mm,
okay, so I guess my question is, so you've had a really cool kind of up and down career. Now
mm,
that's the work side of it. I know you touched
yeah.
on knowing people from NAR. Um,
Mm.
what has your service background been in the industry? Because I know you served on the RICO board, but what else have you kind of gotten involved in?
So I've been on the oh arbitration panel. I've done that for RICO as well for TREB. I was a director for TREB for 6 years
Nice.
on the board, and then I was a the commercial director for AREA for 1 year.
Nice.
Um,
Very
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Good stuff.
So
And I find, like, I think what happens, like, we end up kind of always crossing paths with people who are like-minded because
mhm,
we love giving back, right?
yeah.
And I haven't done anything directly with OREA yet, but I have done
Okay.
stuff with Korea and with Rico and
Hmm.
my own board,
Yeah.
boards plural with Guelph and London.
Yeah.
But I do find that like you
Hmm.
learn so much. And I mean, if there's
Yeah.
any takeaway, guys, get involved,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. It's really, even if you think, I mean, you might think for some reason you get nothing out of it, you always do. And even, I mean, now, I forgot to mention this. I'm actually on the audit and finance committee for Cornerstone.
Oh,
So,
nice.
so, you end up just always, you meet generally, I find great people,
Yes.
and you learn a lot. Like 40 years later, I still learn something every day.
Yes.
So, that I think that's a big takeaway.
It's huge. And I find like what's cool, I mean, not if you have in-person meetings, guys, you'll almost always get really good snacks. So,
That's true.
um,
That's
but
true.
yeah, it's the people you meet. And then there's also a
Yeah,
better way, like when you have clients and you're right in it, you can serve them better,
sure you can.
right?
Yeah,
Because you're not kind
absolutely.
of your head's not in the sand, you're right in it.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
that's really cool. So, what
Yeah.
would you say? So, you've had like a very kind of cool, I love how you got to this point. Um,
Mm.
but what would you say to someone? So, a lot of the people that listen, they're either kind of newer agents or we have agents that are seasoned but
Hmm.
excited about learning. What would you
Hmm.
say are some takeaways that they could take just about kind of things you've learned along the way?
Mm. Yeah. Oh boy. It's interesting. With the different brands I've been lucky enough to work with, each one of them has something, that's I would say is really exceptional. But if I were to say to an agent, you know, be more patient than I was, I think that that's one thing I would say.
Okay.
Um, I was a typical impatient sales guy, and I think so many, the thing that I find upsetting, or not upsetting, but challenging, and it is challenging for individual broker owners and for the large companies, is the constant churn
Yeah.
of agents going from here to there to there. And I think often they don't realize it's very costly.
Yes.
You've got to reconnect, reestablish everything and connect with your clients. But, sometimes if you just give it a little extra time,
Yeah.
you're just going to benefit. And, there isn't, I mean, unless, as an old client said to me once, unless they're stealing money out of your pocket, just do your job, focus, do it better. So I would say be more patient. And then the second thing, though, is absolutely align with people that are all about learning.
Yes.
You just, I mean, you can't do it enough. Whether you're 10 years in the business, 2 years, or 50.
Yep.
I mean, now today I've got to try and learn about AI.
Oh, yes.
Um, I mean, I'm trying, but
If
so
only
there's
there was a
always,
course out there. There's like a thousand
yeah,
courses.
yeah. So I think, that's, and I will say, one of the very first things I told you about taking that sales course,
Yeah.
that actually was super helpful for someone who didn't have a sales background. And
Yeah.
again, so many people that we see getting in the business don't come from a sales or an entrepreneurial type background. And I think often what's missing is that just that basic selling, understanding the process, and
Yeah.
asking good questions. So those are
Absolutely.
two, three things that I would,
I
think
love
about
those.
earlier.
And I think so when you're talking about being patient and like people
Mm.
that kind of go place to place to place, it reminds me kind of, I think Brian Buffini probably said it, but it's like,
Hmm.
you know what you're bringing with you every time?
Yeah,
You.
yeah, yeah,
So unless you're going to like change what you're doing,
yeah.
it's right. It comes down to you. Like no one's going to hand you
That's
business.
right. Exactly.
Um, and the thing
Yeah,
is, yeah, like, and it does take so long just to reestablish.
yeah.
Um, as far as like the training, so there are so many really good sales training programs. I love the Xerox one.
Mm,
I'm going to check it out. I
mm,
remember when I was in university and high school, I actually worked for Shoppers Drug Mart.
mm.
And they found that I was very helpful at cash, but I was a little bit too chatty and helpful. And the lineups were not Like we're
Moving.
crashing it on the lineups. So they're like, okay, Crystal, we're gonna move you to cosmetics, and that's where
Yeah,
your job is to talk to people and help them. I'm like, oh, that's exciting. But
yeah.
part of that, no, they don't do this anymore. So sorry for anyone that's thinking this is a great plan. But they used to do these, we had to do like an intense course, first of all, to get into
Mm,
cosmetics. Like you had to do it was 2 books, there was an exam,
okay.
like, but then you got to go to sales training with actual sales trainers for like Biotherm and Vichy and Lancome and all these places. And
Mm,
so we all would get free products, which we loved, but they would really like teach you like the wording, the sales, like how to do it. And then I would find I'd go back and I'd use those and I would end up like winning sales awards. But how
mhm.
many times? So it doesn't really matter, guys, like where you're getting your sales training. If you're getting it from Xerox, if you're getting it from Shoppers Drug Mart, like you,
Right.
no one is born knowing how to sell. And
Hmm.
I would actually argue that we're not even really selling, but we're
Right.
educating,
That's right.
right? Like
Exactly.
you're imparting wisdom on someone that you've learned, and
Yeah.
in exchange, you're kind of helping them make their own decision to
Yeah.
purchase.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. And yeah, and it does take a while to, I'm not sure many people really grasp the whole, you know, fiduciary duty and standard of care that we're supposed to be delivering. I mean, it's a course, you take it, it's in the back of your head, but
yeah,
really getting it, and that takes time.
yes.
And I would say that's something that should be, studied quite a bit more up front. So,
Absolutely. And I think like for anyone listening, like if you're having kind of a slow time, which I know that a lot of, I mean,
mm,
I think it's about to not be a slow time, but I think
mhm,
based on what we're seeing, but if you're finding you have some downtime, this is
yeah.
the time to go and like because I mean the hardest thing for us is to see like these newer agents who kind of really like just crushed it in 2021,
Hmm.
2022, and now they're going like, what am I doing
Hmm.
wrong? You're not doing anything wrong, but you didn't do anything right before. So
Right.
let's
Right.
let's get you figuring out how to do this without the market just like raining down
Yeah.
buyers, right?
Yeah.
And it's so true. Now, when did you end up doing, like you said you were going into an education role, did you end up doing training?
I, yeah, over the years I've done a lot,
Okay.
and became an instructor for the ABR and the SRS
Nice.
and a bunch of the other courses. And so,
Okay.
it's something I've always, enjoyed and certainly was encouraged at Royal LePage
Yeah.
and, other places. So yeah,
Okay.
so I
So I have a
loved it.
question. So
Mm,
what are the things, so in your courses, what are some of the things, the things that people didn't understand when they came into the course, but like you helped them understand it later? Like
mm.
misconceptions.
Well, interestingly enough, a lot of it was around, they had in their head certain rules that didn't exist, or they
Okay.
had in their head certain, well, this is the way it's done. This is how we do it.
Yep.
And I'm talking now about very experienced people,
Yep.
right? And you had to go back and re-educate them and say, well, no, that's actually not true. And by the way, who said you can't do it like this or like that? So, getting people to sort of really think beyond, maybe what their little neighborhood group of realtors has said.
Yes.
This is how we do it. We don't
Well,
do
and
it
that
any other way.
exactly. I will give you an example that where this happened to me. So as a new realtor, so my background was in law. I went to
Mhm.
university. My undergrad was in law, worked at a law firm. And so when I started, I was very much, I didn't have the real estate jargon down, but I
Mhm.
what words were. Um, and I remember being told on a deal, I had to send in a waiver. And
Mhm.
so I asked, well, I said, I'm not waiving anything. So like
Mhm.
and I said, wouldn't I use this other one, like this notice of fulfillment, because we're fulfilling it? And she's like,
Right.
nope, nope, we only use waivers. And she ended up getting so mad at me. And finally I said, like, I'm really not trying to be a pain, but I went above her head. And I said, like, please explain this to me. And I said, if this is what we do, I'll do it, but I
Mhm.
need you to make it make sense because it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. And then it
Mm.
turned out she was wrong. She had learned incorrectly. Um, we got over it, but it was a rocky little time after that. But
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like you learn something is
Mhm.
this, and you just name it that, and it doesn't matter what the word means.
Yeah.
But really, like you have
Yeah.
to be comfortable speaking up and
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, this doesn't make sense."
Yeah.
Cause it's your license and it's your reputation on the line if you mess it up, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I always like to try and get people to envision, them sitting in court or sitting in front of a RICO panel trying
Yes.
to answer,
Yeah.
did you do everything that you were supposed to do and did you do it
Yeah.
correctly? And so I would say, and at Chestnut Park, we had the benefit of several lawyers working in the firm, and one of whom was the broker of record. And I will say that and especially not that working in that luxury end is makes it more important, but it certainly makes it more risky in
Right.
terms of the amount of money you're dealing with. But they were very particular about you
Yes.
know, researching certain things on title and then also understanding what you were putting down on paper. And so I think the big thing missing from a lot of that education, you've probably heard this complaint, is it's so easy to just grab and drop a clause, but you aren't actually, taught to think about it when we had to write it out in longhand
Oh,
and just memorize it. And there's something about connecting pen to brain when you're doing that. And so again, these are just little things, but if I were to try and recreate better education, those are some of the, I'll call them old but goodies that
yes.
need to come
Absolutely.
back.
And I find like it's even little things like, for example, um, does it say that the deposit will be returned without deduction if you don't
Right.
fulfill the condition? Um,
Hmm.
or if you don't fulfill the inspection, some
Hmm.
of them say, so some of the pre-printed ones that we had said, you have to send the entire inspection report. And so
Right.
I would always change it to the relevant portions
Sure.
because it doesn't belong, right? Like, so we're happy to
Yeah.
send the relevant portions, but the report
Yeah.
belongs to someone else that paid for it.
Sure.
Um, but it really is like when you go clause by clause,
Right.
sometimes you find some things that
Yeah.
okay, let's fix that.
Yeah.
I just
Absolutely.
actually had an offer come in on something last week, and it said, should the conditions not be fulfilled, the deposit will be returned and neither party has to sign a mutual release. And I'm like, I don't think that's legal. So anyway, we crossed it out. But I was just like, you have to read. You have to check out.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure
Good.
you need that mutual release.
Yeah. No, it goes to that whole thing again of being somewhat patient. And this is why this kind of market doesn't really bother me
Yeah,
for a couple of reasons. One, I actually had my best sales years in down markets. And so, for me, this is an opportune time. People
yes,
still need a broker.
we do.
You
Yep.
just, you as the broker have to be more selective, not work
Yes.
with everybody, you know.
That is, yep, and that
So,
is that's what it comes down to. Like I know we're not entertaining people that like if you need to be like this price, but the market's here, we're just like we can't, it's not going to
yeah,
sell. And so it doesn't
yeah,
make sense for us to do it.
correct.
And I mean obviously with compassion and
Oh, yeah,
kindness, but it doesn't help anyone just to have a sign on a lawn for six
no,
months, right?
no. And I've been telling agents as well, get in the habit of listing the buyer, right? Find buyers who are qualified, who have the money. And you'll be the most favorite salesperson in the realtor group because you've got a guy who could close. So Yeah.
I like that. Actually, that might be a helpful thing. What are your tips on how to find those buyers?
You've got to do everything that, some people think is hard to do, but, network, talk to people,
Yep.
ask questions, really learn early on, to ask that question. Have you guys had a chance to get pre-qualified? What
Yes.
what kind of money are you putting down?
Yep.
Where do you work? I can't believe how many agents, when they were getting into trouble with an offer, I'd say, well, where do your clients work? I don't know. How do you not know where your clients work? Well, what are they going to put down? Where's the money I don't know. I mean, so it seems basic, but these are the things people race past because, someone texted, said,
Uncomfortable.
we'd like to look at this or that. Well, if your time is worth 250 bucks an hour, you should take the time to
Yes.
check
Yep.
in first.
And
So,
to make sure, and I think, and staying in touch with that mortgage broker as well. I do find
yeah,
like it's shocking to me sometimes, like we'll say like, oh, like what does the mortgage broker say? And they're like, oh, I don't know who the mortgage broker is. And
right.
then, and this is like, you'll only happens a few times before you make sure that they know before. I remember years ago being like, because I work so closely with my mortgage brokers to be like you
Hmm.
don't know who they are. Like you can't call them. Like, and then all of a sudden
Hmm.
they'll get on the phone, they'll call them, they'll figure, and you get
Yep.
there. But you can't just like the
Yep.
client giving you the thumbs up isn't enough,
No, no,
right?
no.
And
No,
it's I
absolutely.
think
Yeah.
yeah, those prices are even scarier, like out your way. But even here,
Hmm.
like $500,000, like if you're not qualified, like where's it coming from?
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. So, yeah, I would say, but if you're walking around with, I mean, in the reverse market, if you had six listings, I mean, you knew that was going to be a great payday. And
Yes.
I would say today, if you've got six buyer representation agreements with six
Yep.
super qualified people,
Yeah. You're good.
you're good.
The
That's
world is your
that's
oyster.
going to be a great
Absolutely.
year. Yeah.
Absolutely. It is. And it's funny, it changes all the time. So, because we're kind of a 50-50, like with buyers and sellers
Hmm. Hmm.
overall. But yes, buyers are harder to find right now and
Sure.
more coveted. But
Yeah.
that can change like in an instant, right? So you want to make sure
Yeah.
you're building it both up. But yeah, to your
Absolutely.
point, if it's a buyer's market, find those buyers.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. Okay. So, John, if someone wants to reach out to you and chat or
Yeah.
get more info, how do they reach out to you?
Uh, well, there's a couple of places they can go to. They can go on to my LinkedIn and send me a message. They can
Perfect.
um, text or call me, four
One.
one six
Yep.
720 5446. That's
Perfect.
probably the best place.
Wonderful. And that will be in the show notes, guys. So, John, thank you so much. This has been
It's my
really,
pleasure.
really cool. Thank you.
My
Um,
pleasure, Kristen.
Thank you. And yeah, lots of great tips, guys. So, and if you need clarification, listen again. It's wonderful. But yeah, John, happy to hear from you. And if you're thinking that you would also like to be interviewed on Realtor Life, please let me know. So, guys, this has been Crystal Lee Moore Lucier, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor. Crystal Lee Moore, this is Realtor Life. Thanks for listening. Bye, guys.
Bye, Crystal. Thank you.
Thank you.